Yeah, this D-Lo 404. I'm back with another one. I want to talk about it's Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade fight. I just want to say, as a boxing fan, I'm glad that two rival promotional companies can come together and make a fight happen, especially in short order. It don't seem like it took them a terrible amount of arm twisting to make them come to terms. I do know that, the word purse bid was uttered, but it seems like as soon as that got scheduled, they came together and made it happen. And, I think a large part of that is, I think the whole thing with the sanctioning bodies ordering these splits, basically on, different sanctioning bodies have it different ways, but on certain sanctioning bodies, say the champion gets 75%, the challenger gets 25%, so forth and so on. And, we know Eddie Hearn seems to have an issue with percentages for some reason. So I think he did everything he could to go ahead and make that, to make that deal happen. And I know it's a little off topic, but I got to touch on it. I think he did everything he could to make that happen, because Eddie Hearn doesn't want Frank Warren's fighter or anybody else's team knowing what kind of revenue his fight actually does. So when a purse bid, if it got ordered, and just say, for instance, that do the split, there's no way to get 25%. There's no way for Andrade to get 25% and for Saunders to get 45%. And like I said, that's just hypothetical numbers. I'm not 100% sure about that. But if it had went to the sanctioning bodies ordering the split, saying champion gets 75%, then if that happens, Frank Warren and the side of Billy Joe Saunders has to know what kind of revenue the event brought in for the sake of their split. And I may be talking out of turn. Maybe they came up with a split, but I would think that they probably just made Billy Joe a flat fee offer that he couldn't refuse, because this isn't a Wilder AJ style. This isn't a Wilder AJ magnitude of a fight. So if he got offered a nice purse, I'm sure he probably just went ahead and accepted it. And like I said, I'm speaking without really looking into this. This is just what I think. But again, I'm not basing this, off of just erratic thinking. I'm basing this off of the way Eddie Hearn seems to move when it comes to these purse splits. It comes to offering Wilder split, so to speak. So I think that, that was the motivation behind making that fight happen. So for Hearn and making that fight happen, and, making sure that he made an offer that they wouldn't refuse and go ahead and get it done. That man does not want anybody looking at his books. Even you go all the way back to the, when they first started talking to Shelley Finkel, and, Finkel said, send the profit and loss sheets over, and, we'll look at that and we'll go from there. And it's like, when he said that, he might as well have cussed Eddie Hearn out and called him, everything under the sun, because it seemed like from that point on, Eddie hadn't wanted to deal with him. That's when from my recollection, that's when all of the Shirley Winkle talk came up. But anyway, to get back on topic, I'm just, glad to see these guys, come together to make this fight happen. I'm hopeful that more of this goes on when it comes to the networks, when it comes to the rival promoters, when it comes to even the guys' perceived economical status when it comes to the sport. Fights shouldn't not get made because one guy makes, $100,000 a fight and another guy makes $1 million a fight. and they can't come to terms because one guy feels like, well, you only making 100,000, I'm only gonna give you 125,000. You know, I mean, as the person steps up to a bigger piece, a bigger pie, even if he's getting the same percentage that he was getting of the pies he been eating off of, the slice of the pie is supposed to be bigger. You know, and that's the way it should be. So, you know, stuff like that shouldn't be stopping fights from happening. And you know, that's the way I feel about it. I just really get, you know, a little irritated when, you know, guys find reason not to fight. When promoters find reason not to make fight. When managers and advisors are advising guys not to take fights for those type of reasons. I mean, I understand these guys just can't come out and say, man, I just don't think I can beat that guy. You know, I mean, other than, you know, these guys that were ducking Rigo, you know, had some of those guys actually came out and said they just didn't want to fight him. And I guess it's hard to respect him as a fighter for not daring to get in there with another guy. He's not going to get in the ring with a knife. I mean, he's just getting in there with gloves just like them. But at the same time, I guess, hell, I got to give him some kind of credit for being honest and just saying they just don't like to fight. You know, I mean, at this point, I would respect AJ more if he just came out and said he just don't like the Wilder fight. He just don't think that fight, he just don't, you know, think that's the right fight for him right now. I mean, he don't have to say I'm scared of him. Just say that. You know, just say at this time, I just don't think that's the right fight and try to save face, whatever. But he can't do that now because of all the fake negotiations they've had, you know. But, you know, there's quite a few fights I want to see. And, you know, like I said, I wasn't going to make this video too long, but I will, you know, make some videos later on about fights I want to see. And I want to see them regardless of imaginary boundaries that are put in place to keep these fights from happening. I mean, I want to see fights happen. You know, there's too many fights that I wanted to see that didn't happen. You know, I didn't see Paul Williams, Kelly Pavlik fight for, you know, injury reasons, supposedly. I think Kelly Pavlik didn't want to fight the man, but that's another story. I didn't get to see Wanma and Gamboa. I think that would have been a hell of a fight. Two very talented offensive guys who both had defensive liabilities, but were very exciting. I mean, that's a fight I really, really, really wanted to see, didn't get to see. You know, there's a lot of guys I wanted to see James Kirkland mix it up with that never happened. Hell, I wanted to see the Andrade Lara fight when they were both at 54. Wanted to see Andrade versus a lot of guys, you know. Want to see Lara versus a lot of guys. You know, Triple G, Andre Ward. Even though they were never in the same weight class, Ward was one class above him, and they were talking about they'd fight anybody from this weight to that weight. You know, that fight should have been made. That fight would have done a lot for both their career. You know, I guess in hindsight, Triple G was better off for not having had that fight because he probably wouldn't be in the position he's in now with the Canelo money that he gets, has gotten and will get again. But, you know, that could have been a good fight. You know, Ward and Stevenson, good fight. Kovalev Stevenson, good fight that didn't happen. You know, so that's just stuff that's on my mind that comes to mind when I think about these guys not making fights. But like I said, I take my hat off to these two guys being willing to get in the ring with one another, regardless of what Andrade said previously about not being ready for Billy Joe. I mean, I honestly think Andrade is gonna beat Billy Joe. I mean, I may be wrong, but I mean, that's what I think. Just looking at the body of work, both guys, and looking at what they bring to the table, you know, I think, you know, hell, Andrade fought that big old Atlantis Fox, 6'5", middleweight, after a lot of inactivity, and, you know, pretty much had his way with the guy. I mean, I'd like to see him knock him out, but that was a lot of fighter to have to knock out. And I think Andrade took his foot off the gas at points. He pressed at points or whatever, and I mean, Billy Joe, he looked great against Lemieux. And he's looked really good in some other fights, and some other fights he didn't look so good. And the same can be said for, you know, Andrade. He looked spectacular, and sometimes he looked, you know, blasé. But, you know, that said, I tip my hat off to these guys, and I hope the fight happen. I look forward to seeing the fight. I think it's ridiculous that they don't have a venue yet. and that there's a fights actually signed with no venue, but some kind of way they pulled that off. I mean, that's, you know, whatever. Or maybe they just stuck a venue on there knowing they wouldn't be able to, you know, it wouldn't make sense to use that venue, but they put a venue on there for the sake of getting the contract done and avoiding the purse bid. You know, there's all kind of tricks to get things done in boxing if you really want to get it done. And there's also all kind of tricks to not get things done if you don't want to get them done. But that's another topic for another video as well. But hey, I appreciate y'all guys, you know, guys, ladies, or whoever's out there watch my video. I appreciate you watching. You know, like I said, like, share, subscribe if you like my video, you like my content. You know, again, I'm trying to build my channel. You know, I want to give a big shout out there to all of the you know, real boxing fans out there. And you guys just keep supporting the sport. You know, sometimes I know it's easy to feel like the sport don't love us back, but you know, let's keep pushing the sport we love. Let's keep supporting it. Let's support these fighters. And you know, let's be the fans that we would want to have if we were out there fighting. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm out. Peace.